All right. So Joe Biden recently made a speech that didn't paint a huge part of the population in a good light. MAGA Republicans. He said regular Republicans was all right, but MAGA Republicans was a bunch of douches. Kind of effectively, that seems like what he was saying. But anyways, um, and then there was the media response. Now, what he said was what he said. And you know what? I don't think a lot of Joe Biden does in and of himself has a lot of influence, and it's easy to ignore him when he says certain things. It really is. Even though a lot of people did cheer in the crowd and things of this nature, I don't really think he has a lot of pull because he's old and senile and kind of senile seemingly, and he might not run again, and um, it just is what it is. The reason why he got elected more so than anything was because people hated the other guy so much, which is a lot of reason why the last guy got elected too, because they didn't like establishment Republicans or Democrats. Nobody likes establishment Republicans or Democrats. Anyways, so with that being said, I think the major story is going unsaid. It's what how the media is responding to it, how the media responded to it. So Trump was polarizing bad, but this dude make a polarizing statement, and a lot of the establishment media that helped get him elected didn't have anything to say about this. Now there was people on the left that said something about this, but a lot of the establishment media didn't say anything about this that got him elected, and that's a problem because media. I think the media, in my assessment, has more of a hold on people's minds than anything else. Whatever media people like to watch is more has is the what really has the influence over people more so than the politician that they voted for, unless they um, really really identify with the positions and the arguments the politicians are making. Like some people really identify with what Ron Paul was saying. Like I was one of them. Certain people might have identified with what Bernie Sanders was saying. Like I really felt like when Ron Paul was speaking, I didn't just agree with him. I felt like I was learning how things was working from him, and there's a difference between the two. It's like, oh, okay, I'm feeling like I'm learning something here. You're teaching me how this works. But that's neither here nor there. Ron Paul's not a factor in political force anymore. So, anyways, um, I think Black conservatives perspective had a bunch of clips of a bunch of mainstream media individuals, corporate media individuals that was going along with what Biden said. Now, if they would have pushed back against what he said, it would have been one thing. It would have been a non-issue. But the fact that they went along with it, it just shows me that the media is part of the biggest divider in this country. And one of the things that sparks division more than anything is having a double standard. And I think corporate media is really good with having double standards. And this is what polarizes people the most is double standard. Well, you have this problem. Well, how come you don't say this about your politician? When my politician does this, you have a lot to say, but when your politician says it, you don't have nothing to say. When Donald Trump says something incendiary, you don't like it. Um, but when your politician says something, you like it. Or when Donald Trump says something nasty, you like it. But when this other guy says something nasty, you don't like it. It's double standards that really divide people the most. Because a lot of people are about sides anyway, not about principle. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think this is just to me. I think we should just the biggest divider and polarizer is the mainstream media. Even when Biden tried to walk back some of his statements, the media I didn't see the media really walk back their endorsement of what he said. Our media is supposed to be holding our politicians accountable, really. Yeah, you can state your opinions, but they should really be trying to hold our politicians accountable and that's why we don't get done because we're so busy not liking and liking certain people that the issues get lost. We're more interested in not liking or liking a certain politician rather than solving a problem. But yeah, I just That's just my assessment. I think we underestimate the media too much. That's one thing. Um, Another thing is that just because something is a lot weaker, all it needs is enough power. It doesn't need most of the power. It just needs enough, and to get their job done, and that's it. If they went from benching 1,000 pounds, which is inhuman, to benching 400 pounds, which is rare, they're still very strong. It's just that they're nowhere near. They might not be as in. They might be significantly weaker than they were before, but they're still strong. So I still believe they have a lot of influence. I just think they're the biggest polarizers here, more so than Biden and any politician, really, any politician. And I think when mass crap happens to hurt a lot of people, I think it's going to be because the media went along with it and promoted certain things. Just like that's why the George Floyd riots were allowed to happen so long, because the media influenced not only politicians but politicians to stand back and allow this to happen, and it gave them a cover so they can burn stuff down and kill people. Now, independent of the peaceful protest, there was a lot of riots that happened that caused millions and millions of dollars of damage. People lost their livelihoods, and people got killed from that. And the people in the media still went along with it. Now, January 6th, the rioters didn't kill anybody. There was hardly any property damage. And there was no buildings that was taken over like it was during the George Floyd riots, like police precincts and things of this nature. But yet, these people were scoring way worse than the other ones were. Double standards is the biggest divider of the country. I mean, it's a real good way to divide people. Not only that, it's just, and I think our media is just really big on they just really want to divide people. They just really want to divide. They really want to they really want people to be like brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor and family against man, and they want people, they have the power, literally have the power to have people shunned. Just like, and you saw this in a skit with Saturday Night Live when they were like people would they were just like they were showing people afraid to talk about the pandemic situation, because they was like, can we say this? Can we say this? And that's how much power the media has. The media that people, a lot of the conservative pundits say that people don't trust. That's losing power. That's how much power they have. They control the narrative. They just dictate what is said and what's said, and what is and what isn't. And that's why a lot of nonsense is going on in this country today. But I thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to ramble on about that a little bit. And have a good day. Peace.